Behind the Brand features the people who are making things happen. Get the insight to grow your biz from experts who've done it. Get behind the brand.
Hi, I'm Bryan Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here with Kenny and Travis, co-founders of Kajabi, an awesome online learning platform. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
I usually ask my guests, how'd you get this job? Let me ask Kenny first.
We created this job, and we dreamed up what would be the ideal place to work, and we created it. And we created it to solve a problem that we had.
Here at Kajabi, we believe that everyone should be able to take what they know and share that knowledge with as many people as possible. When you use Kajabi Next, you can do just that. Just upload your content, set a price, and share your course with the world. We take care of the rest.
Travis, how'd you guys arrive at this place? I mean,
we tried a bunch of things, and one of the last things we tried is we made this this kid's car wash. Like, it was this thing made out of PVC pipe, and we were going to sell this on the internet. It was this cool thing you could build. You got PVC pipe, hoses, and you could make a car wash for your kid.
total DIY thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we were going to ship it to people, and that was going to be a business we were going to do. And then we're like, no, this is too much work. So we thought, well, what if we just sell how to do it? And so we videotaped how to do it. We had PDF of all the plans. And then we got to work to try to put that online. And we're both software guys. And it took forever, and we couldn't get it to work. And we're like, there's got to be an easier way. And through that's where we're like, what if we built a platform that allowed people to kind of share what they know and sell it?
You're working with some big names. Let's name drop just a little bit. Like, who are some of the people that are using Kajabi and doing it pretty successfully?
Yeah, so one of those is Chalene Johnson. You might know her from like fitness infomercials and things like that, and she's just a marketing powerhouse as well. And she's coming out with her new Pio. It's going to be take the world by storm, you know.
I'm going to say it's amazing. You can take your phone with you and just shoot all your stuff right there. So we're excited to see, because of that flexibility, the things people will be able to create.
You know, people who watch this show, they're entrepreneurs. They have their own business. They have great ideas. They want to know what missteps you've taken in order to get it right. Talk to us about what went wrong in order to get it right.
Well, I think Kajabi Next will be our third piece of software we built. The first was the original Kajabi. And I think one of the biggest mistakes we did is we added too many features. We got caught up into, it should do this, and it should do this, and it should do this. And now, 4 years later, thousands of customers, we know it's more important for us to curate that and really determine, is this feature necessary? Will this make the customer happier? Will it make them more successful? And we did that with Megaphone, which is another piece of software we built, and with Kajabi Next. I think we're really dialed into simple and things that are a necessity, and they do exactly what you expect them to do.
And features that the majority of user base would want. You know, the team has spent months on certain features in some of our previous software that we find out only a couple people use, and it's like, really, it complexifies it for everybody else, and they don't even want that feature.
So did you ever have any customer service problems? Anything that went wrong in the beginning, trying to manage listening to people and dealing with questions and all of that?
I think our biggest problem at the beginning was just naivety. We didn't know how many people were going to just gravitate towards Kajabi in such a short amount of time. And you know, I mean, literally, we hired a couple people in the Philippines to help us answer, you know, support tickets or questions that came in. And first of all, it's kind of funny. You know, we launched on a Thursday here, and so they're a day ahead of us. And so we didn't really realize when the questions started pouring in, it was Saturday morning in the Philippines, and they weren't working, you know, or it was the weekend in the Philippines, whatever the time zone was. And we were in a bind. You know, we woke up literally. I mean, we were both at our kids' soccer games, and we called each other and said, "Wait, there's 1,000 open questions." You know, and it's not necessarily everybody having a problem, but everybody that we want to provide good support. We wanted to answer every single person. And so we started drumming up help from people that had no idea what we were doing, you know, neighbors and friends and my father-in-law and people like that. They all came to my house, sat around the dining room table, and just started answering questions. Yeah, yeah.
And to this day, his father-in-law still works for us. But we were so naive. We knew we wanted to build this software. We had established all the connections. We had done all the marketing. But then at that point, I remember thinking, what the heck have we done?
Yeah.
Now all these people depend on us, and we have to follow through. And there's this huge stress. Like I went through crazy stressful times where at one point I thought I was having a heart attack. I was so stressed, and we grew up really fast.
Yeah, we wanted to provide this customer service, and the questions didn't stop, any time of day or night. And, and so we felt that all the time we had to be there. We had to make sure everybody knew how to answer it properly, or we were answering it. And it was stressful.
That was our moment. We knew this was what we worked for. So we just stood back to back and said, we're going to get through this. And we fought, and we got customer service dialed in. We got the app working exactly how it was.
So how did you do that? Did you staff up? Did you bring it back locally, or?
One of the things is we looked for commonalities in the questions, right? So there were some areas, we were kind of perfectionists at the beginning, but we weren't. We launched, and there were still some dark areas of the app that maybe hadn't been tested thoroughly as an end user would use it, and so we found some commonalities. Okay, a lot of people are asking about this. Let's address that, in the software. Let's try to fix it. Let's add a help article for that. And we started tackling the big areas.
We also dialed into analytics, where we would survey every single customer that left and figured out why. And that was how we started getting those common things. Okay, we've got to fix this, or we're going to lose more. And at first, those meetings were depressing because the numbers were just dropping, because we had this huge launch with all these trial customers, and then it kind of just went. And so we tried to listen the best we could to why they were leaving and what could we do. And we just took customer service very seriously. We did start hiring locally and got some of the really top-notch guys here we could get. And by Christmas, after 4 months, we started seeing like good results. We ran a survey of all of our customers in the database to see how they were doing. And we could see, oh my gosh, this guy has a course about cigars and he's got this many customers. This lady has a cake decorating site and she has this many customers. And it's like all of a sudden it paid off, and it was real. It wasn't just some crazy idea we had and the software was having trouble with customers. It was like, this is something people love and it's changing their lives.
Yeah, it's providing value to them immediately. So we kind of saw past the problems, and we didn't staff up entirely, or what. It was kind of like a season, and then it kind of evened out, and the software evened out.
To call that time period, it was our beachhead. We had this idea, and we wanted to get to Normandy, which was establishing a business, and a lot of things died during that time, but we survived somehow, and we just kept fighting and fighting until we got that team established. See, at that point, there was only 3 of us. It was Kenny, myself, and Brendan, our first hire. So 3 of us built the software, and that's all we had on the team.
Yeah.
And then we slowly built the team now, and we have 12 guys, awesome team. This is part of the vision. Like, we used to have this vision of, we wanted to have a company together. We wanted to be in a space like this, and we wanted to work with really smart, cool people that we like to hang out with. And after 4 years, a lot of that's come to life.
Talk to us about how you find good people and what your process is. Whether you focus on skills or personality, or there's some other method. Because I think a lot of people want to know that. It's hard to find good people sometimes, especially in your particular area of your neighborhood. You may or may not have a cluster of talent like Silicon Valley.
Yeah, and that's something we compete against because we're a software company, so all the good talent goes to Silicon Valley. But we always say that we're slow to hire and quick to fire. So we take our time to try to find that right person, and then if it doesn't work out, we cut ties right away, because we don't want to do anything to jeopardize what the current guys have here by bringing on dead weight.
Culture, I think, is one of the most important things in the company, and skills, of course, matter. But if we just brought people in because they had the skills, it would just be this hodgepodge mess, and people couldn't work together well, and who knows where we would be. And so it's personality, it's culture, it's how you're going to fit in with the team, and then of course it's skill.
And we look for those things. Like, we'll search their name on YouTube and see if they have any YouTubes. We'll look at all kinds of stuff, and sometimes we'll find stuff they don't want us to find, but we're like, oh, that guy's kind of quirky. I like that about him.
Yeah.
And that's happened to a couple of the guys we have, and now we're even making that a pre-qualification. You have to send a videotape of yourself.
So you're doing like the American Idol style video.
It really is like that. And one of the first ones I think we're gonna hire is incredible video he sent in. So we'll have to show that to the world soon.
So you're encouraging people to get creative and for you to see their real.
Because we don't care about resume, we don't care about college. We do care that they can do the job well. Experience doesn't always matter, because sometimes these programmers are at home just making stuff on their own, and they're really talented.
The world's changing. Yeah, it's not like you need a computer science degree and 5 years and a junior or higher level position.
But right from the beginning, we always thought that was our asset, was people. We have good people, everything else we can do. We can always do more marketing, we can always get more customers, but people are hard to come by, good people.
So that's a good transition. Let's talk about marketing for a second. What does your marketing mix look like? I mean, your business is B2B, right? Basically.
B2. Yeah, high level C or small b. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because these are people with businesses. So how are you getting the word out? And are you spending any money on advertising? If so, talk to us about the marketing mix.
Well, initially we had a strategy. We had this idea, but we knew nobody. So, and we've heard this term, it's called marketing to the front row. And we went to the top guys that were selling information online. They were right here in San Diego and La Jolla and stuff.
Give us some names, like who are you talking about?
Like Frank Kern, Mike Filsaine, Jeff Walker, Brendan Bouchard. We went and actually, the big guys in that space. And so we went and connected just through Twitter. I started meeting them, and you know, people always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's both. You got to get good at something and get to know a lot of people. Yeah. Well, we were already good at software, so I would connect with these guys, and we would just offer our services for free. Fix your blog, design this, anything we could think of, until we established that trust, and then we started saying, well, here's an idea we have. And then pretty soon they're like, oh, that's awesome. And then we built the beta based on what they needed. And then we delivered to them first, which our name was in the footer of all these big launches of all this product. And
yeah, we said before we go out and try to sell our software to the world as nobodies, you guys use our software to launch your stuff. You already have an audience, you know.
We didn't just build software and be like, oh, let's place some ads. We had an idea and we went, if we can go to them, there'll be customers and all their customers will be our customers. Super smart. Yeah, and it worked out. It could have failed miserably, or we could still be spinning our wheels, but you know, we always delivered really good quality software, and that helped too.
You know, it makes a lot of sense you telling that story, but I don't know if that's intuitive to a lot of people who are maybe watching, because the first initial reaction is, okay, I've got a great idea, then I'm going to make it, then I'm going to go out and try and find somebody to buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it doesn't always work that way.
I think, and we're learning this more and more as we go along, like the whole lean mentality, the lean startup mentality is that you want to know right away if what you're building is valuable to people, and so you want to get it in front of people right away. The mistake we see talking to young entrepreneurs and people trying with startups is they want to protect their idea. They don't want anybody to know, and sorry, I can't tell you my idea because it's just way too good. And they wait so long to get any kind of validation from anybody else.
Well, they all want to go in their cave and just build that little idea they have and then say, what do you think now? And they've already wasted all this time when they could have came out early with just sketches and ideas. And
yeah, and yeah, put it in front of prospective customers. And really the best vote you can get for your software, will people buy it? Right. You know, so even if you're giving away your product for free a long time, that doesn't really say that person would have like got their wallet out and paid you. You know, they might use it a little bit if it's free. So you want to start charging for your product if that's your business model, you know, and charge right away, you know, and your customers will grow with you. They'll understand, hey, the product's going to iterate, it's going to improve, you know, but we find value in it, so we're going to pay you today.
So it's a good point. Another thing I wanted to ask you about is the freemium model versus paid model. So, you know, are we spoiling people by publishing our stuff to YouTube or putting it out there for free? You know, there's a whole camp that says, give it all away. Yeah. And then there's a camp that says, you know, no, it's behind a walled garden. What's your take on that?
I think it needs to be both. I think you need to go out with really good, valuable, free content, you know, because people aren't going to buy anything from you if they don't know you, like you, and trust you, you know. So, you know, you put that stuff out for free, but if you're really solving problems for people, if you're really providing value, they're going to want to, you know, stay with you, and they're going to want to buy your premium stuff as well. Yeah.
We have examples of customers that did YouTube only before. There's a tennis instructor that had all these YouTube videos and wasn't really sure how to monetize. Then he takes his premium stuff and puts it in Kajabi. He's got all of his awesome free stuff that's still just as good as his premium, and he tied it all together really well, and now he makes, you know, six figures. Yep. And something about freemium, we learned the hard way. We tested the freemium model for our own software, where we would give it away for free, 30 days, whatever it was, and we learned that in the software space, they're most likely to take the credit card out at that moment when they're at your site. 30 days later, it's almost impossible to get them. So we went through all kinds of cycles of testing that and following up, and we know that giving them a demo is awesome, but you need to capture that credit card as soon as possible.
Yeah, there's a psychology when you're providing a tool for somebody that potentially is going to make them money. There's a psychology that, hey, I've got skin in the game, I paid for this, so I'm going to just, even subconsciously, I'm going to try that much harder to make myself successful with this tool. You know, versus if it was just free, like, whatever, I'm going to play with this thing, and 30 days later, I didn't make a whole bunch of money, you know, it's not for me.
What was your price strategy? Did you try different price points and test those? Did you do A/B testing, or you just have a gut feeling?
Oh, no, it was gut. It was all gut. It was all like, okay, we think that the customer can pay this, and then we went back and we analyzed, which customers are more successful, this price point, that price point. And then we just dialed in at this price point, so we focus on that one, because we know if they're going to pay us that much, it's a certain type of customer, we know they're going to hit success. So.
And what type of customer is it? So describe who the Kajabi customer is.
I think our ideal customer is somebody who knows the message that they want to sell. Like they have their content together. They're not signing up for Kajabi in hopes of, okay, now I need an idea, right? Those people just flail around, really. The ideal customer says, hey, I know what I want to teach, and I even have a potential audience to teach it to. I just need a platform to put my knowledge out there. You know, that's our ideal if
someone's already got lessons on YouTube or something, they could just repurpose that and put it on Kajabi, or maybe even, if it's videos that's already on Kajabi, you could write up some sort of lesson plan or worksheet or homework and sort of repurpose or expand on that same idea, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. People ask us the question all the time, why would I need Kajabi if I can learn from YouTube? And I think the learning experience is much different, right? YouTube, I can go online right now and find any information about photography, for example, that I can imagine, and I'd be overwhelmed with all different takes on photography, and it's all pretty good stuff. But with Kajabi, on the other hand, if a photographer put a course there, it's curated. It's like he's leading you through the steps that he thinks you should go. It's all consistent. Lesson 10 can reference what you learned in lesson 5. You know, it's a much better learning experience.
Where else are you guys spending money on advertising to get the word out? So you've done sort of the white glove treatment or the influencer tactic. What else are you doing to get the word out to market?
We think our product is one that, is beneficial to so many people. And so to get the word out, Facebook we do a lot with.
So you're spending money on Facebook?
We spend money on Facebook ads, and we target different demographics that we think would be perfect.
Give us an idea of what you're spending on Facebook. Just give us a range, I'm spending this much a month. Just curious.
We start small, and with different demographics or ads or landing pages that they're going to land on, and we really try to dial that in. And if we find one that's working for the particular campaign, whatever we're trying to promote, then we'll dial it up. I mean, we've spent $5,000 a day before on ads, and sometimes it's really cheap. It just really depends on what our focus is.
And we're also using a lot of the retargeting stuff. So once a customer visits our site one time, through retargeting, we can advertise all over the place. So we'll do things like producing great content. It might be a blog post, it might be one of our Chalk Talk videos, and that's the same thing. They'll be cookied, they'll watch a Chalk Talk video about marketing or business, and then later they'll see Kajabi Megaphone, they go, oh yeah, I need to buy that. And that tends to work pretty well, because sometimes that buying decision is 3 or 4 touch points before they make a purchase.
Okay, so what do you do if you've got something great to teach, you create this great lesson on Kajabi, you launch it, and there's crickets? Like, nobody's there. Nobody seems to care. What do you do?
Well, I think you need to build a following, just like we're doing with our Chalk Talk videos, our blog posts. You need to get that same content, get it out there on YouTube, get it out on your own blog, and start creating your own list of customers, which is just an email list.
Yeah, let's talk about how to create that list and how important that is. Because I see the same thing happening with Kickstarter, right? Like, I've got this great idea, I want to launch on a Kickstarter. You don't have a list, you don't have a following, and people are shocked why it doesn't get funded or it doesn't go anywhere.
One of the most common things, and I think it goes back to the know you, like you, and trust you part. You can't expect to just send some cold traffic to a sales page, right? And with the buy button, and just the first time they see it, they're just going to click and buy.
Let's talk about how do you develop that list, because I think that might even be something you're doing parallel path or prior to your lesson planning, no?
I think, yeah, definitely. You want to be building that list from the get-go, even if you're not sure what your exact lesson is, but you know that I have a passion about cake decorating. So you've got your blog, you might have your 10 steps to making a great cake. So you can use our software called Megaphone, and what we do is we have that information with a video and enter your email, and then it'll email that PDF or whatever.
So Megaphone's like a landing page or a squeeze page kind of thing where it captures data. And
yeah. So imagine as a cake decorator saying, like, your best content, maybe it's your secret sauce on how to make the best cake or decorate the best cake. Say, I'm going to give this for free, sign up here, to get it. You deliver that, and then after you've got their email, you don't spam them or anything, but you provide them value. Right?
You're building the relationship.
Somebody has just raised their hand and said, I like, or I want to hear what you have to say. And so you say, 2 weeks later, you say, oh, here's another cake tip, and here's another one. Here's a new frosting I just heard about. And you just develop like a casual relationship with your list.
And I think the key is you got to give away your best stuff. People are, they think, well, tease them with this, but, pay for the best. You should actually give away your best stuff. You might still sell that in your course, but when people see that amazing freemium, if you will, they're like, wow, this is awesome. I trust him. I want to sign up for it right away.
So it's about delivering the value.
For sure, for sure. And you brought up a good point about somebody that does all this work and then the crickets happen and then they just give up, you know. And I know it's a cliche saying, you know, well, don't give up. I was listening to Dave Ramsey podcast the other day and he had Seth Godin on and I forget which one of them, but they talked about the drawing board isn't a bad place. Going back to the drawing board is a great place because that's, you know, that's where magic happens. And so if that happens, if the crickets happen, you just stop and say, okay, what do I have here to work with? And, you know, what could I do differently? You know,
And we have customers that literally go to their list and survey them and then build a course based on that information, which is like a win-win strategy.
you build that list and say, hey,
You know what they want.
you know what I've already given you for free. What do you want to learn more about? You know, and your audience is telling you what they would pay for.
That's brilliant. We should underscore that. I mean, that's, I think, a very important point. What's the hardest thing that you guys have ever done?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, for me, it's juggling starting a startup, leaving a nice cushy job 9 to 5 and doing a startup, and then having a family and kids at home. You know, that was probably the hardest thing for me is you know, working from home for 9 years and always being there, and then all of a sudden one day saying, oh, starting a company, move into an office, you know, go.
Yeah. How'd that go for you?
In hindsight, great, and you know, I'm glad it happened the way it happened. But it was a tough period.
It's a season, but I remember it was very fearful, like, oh my God, I burned all the bridges. I'm not going back to corporate America after this. I can't. Yeah. And then there was that season of like, you know, are we still going to make enough to pay the bills? And that was scary. But it also felt like the right thing to do all along. It never felt fearful, I don't want to do this. It was like fearful, I'm going to do this and it's going to work out. And then when it started working out, I don't have any of those fears anymore.
Oh yeah. The first couple hires, knowing that they have their families, they have their lives, and all of a sudden you're not only saying that I need to make enough for us, you know, and our big decision now, it's like you feel kind of responsible.
One of our first
for
hires,
everybody.
he was going to have him and his wife were going to have a baby soon, so he'd be off of his insurance, and it was like overwhelming. And back then, we'd always hire more than we could afford too. We'd have to like conference, can we afford this every month? I don't know if I can afford this, and that was scary. Those times, they were tough, but I also cherished them too because they were important, and we made it through them.
How about you guys? You guys butt heads at all?
Oh yeah. I think that's healthy. You know, if you don't, there's a problem.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a marriage kind of. We have our seasons where we get along great, and then we have our seasons where we drive each other crazy. And then there's times too where if we both agree upon something, we know we're on to something. If one of us disagrees, we think about it a little bit more.
He kind of said back when he was talking about pricing, it was a hunch, and we kind of do that in all areas of business, right? If we both feel really good about something in our gut, we know it's the right decision, whether there's facts or not to back it up. And I know that kind of sounds silly, but it's a lot of it is intuition, you know. And so with us, it's rarely a time where one of us is really trying to convince the other one, you know, about the hunch that they feel. But it happens, you know, and we do have that.
All right, we've been spending a few minutes with Kenny and Travis, co-founders of Kajabi, the awesome online learning platform. Guys, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having us. This is great.
Thanks, it's fun.